Hey everyone, Melissa here, and I'm so happy to be back with you on the Hip Kit Club YouTube channel again today. So it is Product Focus Wednesday, and my assignment was to use tags and frames. So I've just pulled a few tags and frames that I want to use from, I think, all of the kits. This is from the main kit. It's the cut apart sheet, and as you can see, it has lots of tags. This could be considered a frame if you fussy cut it out. I've also got two of the stitched tags and also a stitched frame. So I'm probably not going to use all of them, but I just wanted to show you. And also, I think this is from Pebbles, the Avenue. We've got these wooden frames, and I love these. Other things that I have pulled is this sheet of paper, and it's got, let's turn it around the right way, it's got numbered 1 to 9. I've got plans for 1 to 3, and you'll see that as I get into my layout. I want to use this piece of pattern paper. One thing I like to do with my hip kits, and I've done this for a long time now, is take one piece of paper, cut it apart, distress it, and put it back together. And because this is a focus on 3, and like I said, I'll explain that soon. So yeah, it'd be very easy for me to cut this apart and just use the separate parts, but I want to try and use it as a whole. In doing that, I'm having to sacrifice this, which I would have loved to have used as a background, but because I got the pattern paper add-on, I still have another piece of this that is partially cut apart for the mini album I made last week, but I will still be able to make it work for this side. I have also pulled this sheet of cardstock from the cardstock kit. It is called, what is it called? Rain, and that's by Basil. So one thing you want to do is make sure you cut off the branding strip. So yeah, just a little hint, because you wouldn't think that this is bigger than 12 by 12, but it actually is. And so yeah, other things I've got here, I've got the Days of Splendor Floral Ephemera. I think this is from the embellishment kit. From the same collection, I've got the chipboard flare. I've got the enamel dots. I've got the Maggie Holmes Marigold sticker book that I've pulled apart to make it easier to work with. I've also got, from the main kit, the ephemera pieces from Days of Splendor, the Marigold puffy stickers. I think these are from the Pocket Life kit. I've also got the Avenue stickers. These are really, really cute, and I want to see how we go, try and use some more of those. And of course, probably my favourite thing in all the kits are these beautiful thickers, which are called, very appropriately called Lovely. So we'll see how we go. That's what I've pulled. I have a plan in mind, so let's get started. Okay, so I forgot to mention that I am working with the September 2020 kits, and as I said earlier, I think I'm working with all of the kits. The bits and pieces I've pulled are from all of them. So I've done my, I think I mentioned as well that every kit that I work with, I love to take one of the pattern papers, cut it apart, distress it, and put it back together. So I cut this one apart with my paper trimmer, but I'm never that great. I always have to get my scissors out and trim a bit off, but that worked out really well because I wanted some of that cardstock underneath to be seen. So at this point, I couldn't find my edge distresser again, so I used scissors to distress it. And then I took it over to my sewing machine, and in corresponding colours, I have stitched around each of the rectangular pieces. So for wood grain, instead of using brown, I've used gold, and I love the look of that. It was also very handy because my gold thread was already in my machine from the coffee cup album that I made last week. So I've also used pink and obviously white. And then I have off camera really pushed those edges up so that you can see some of that cardstock underneath. Otherwise, I might as well have just used, white cardstock or any cardstock. The whole point was I wanted to have a little peek of that, and I think I've achieved that quite well. So what I've got is a couple of photos of me there, one that I don't like and one that I do. And I have a photo of Brielle and a photo of Sam. And we all had our birthdays in March. Sam was at the end of March, and Brielle and I were the beginning and halfway through April. And I decided to and that was during our lockdown, so I decided to make this page about having our birthdays in the lockdown. Before I talk about that a bit more, I better explain here. I've just decided to get the stamp from the stamp kit, which is that beautiful big pink fresh stamp, and then I'm using my embossing, I don't know if it's like a glue stamp pad, or I don't know if you call it ink or what, but embossing pad, and then I've just used some, I think it's Ranger, just glitter, embossing glitter from my stash, and my heat gun to heat it up, and then I've managed to put the little bit of the stamp on that frame. So that frame was quite plain, and I just love how it's looking, and I'm going to do a little bit more embellishing on it as well. So anyway, back to why this is why I'm focusing on 3. So 3 of us, 3 birthdays during lockdown. With Brielle, I did a bit of a last minute shop and got her some Lego. It was like, I think we had 48 hours before lockdown, so that was my panic shop, was to get that for her. Sam was getting my husband's old phone, so I didn't need to panic shop for him. And yeah, so I've gone with Sam at the top because his birthday was first, so I've put him on the wood grain, me on the white, and Brielle on the pink, which of course she'll be happy about. And so I'm using one of the stitched tags from Days of Splendor, and then I've cut 2 of those Maggie Holmes tags off the cutter part. I have used my crocodile to punch the holes, and I love to add thread. I can't leave a tag without thread, I just think it needs it. So because these pink fresh tags, they come to a point at the top of the tag, so you're going to have to choose what side you want the twine to go on to, and I'll move it over soon. And here I'm getting the 1, 2 and the 3 off that marigold paper, and I'm ripping the end, and I rip it in a way that you can see the white inner core of the paper. That's my favourite way to tear paper. Adding a little bit of glue, and then I'll go and machine stitch the 1 and the 2. I'm not going to stitch, the 3. I'm not going to stitch the 3 for Brielle because it's already stitching on the stitch tag. The other thing I did was pop up the part of the tag, the embellishment part of that stitch tag, and put some little pop dots underneath just for extra dimension. So I'm adding my thread in that tag. Now this is a different type of layout for me. It feels a little bit disjointed, but what I wanted to do was have it look like a grid, but also have each of those 3 pieces embellished appropriately for each person. So that's Ava there. She, of course, when I'm scrapbooking, wants to stamp and wants to scrapbook and use the glue. So it was a little bit stressful. Yeah, but I managed to kind of distract her and keep her on task so that she wasn't going to go and trash everything while I was working. Yeah, so with Sam, I'm not going to add a whole lot of flowers because he is a teenage boy. He turned 13, so I want to keep that little wood grain panel appropriate to him. But I also want, I'm girly and Brielle is even more girly than me, but I want this to be, what's the word? I want it to all go together, so it's going to be like a grid that works between the 3 panels, but I also want each one to reflect each person's personality. So the photo that I chose of me, I'm cheating because I didn't like the selfie that I took on my actual birthday, but no one's going to know except you and me. So I picked a nicer photo. So I went for a bike ride almost every day in our lockdown, and I didn't like the selfie that it took of me, so I just picked one that was close to the day of me that I did like and went with that. It's my scrapbook, and I want it to look good in this album. So a little bit of vanity for you there. And then I've chosen that beautiful pink floral for me, and I decided that, of course, I still need to get a title onto this layout, and I love that thick as gold remember word. I'm still thinking at this point what I'm going to call the rest of the layout. In the meantime, I've put a little puffy a puffy house next to that photo of Sam. So I really want to play on the fact that we had to stay home. And that little house that you can see on Brielle's little panel says, what does it say? Let's stay home, which is perfect. And then I'm using these letter stickers from the Marigold book, sticker book. fix this. Obviously it's, or have I fixed it? Yeah, I fix it so that it's going to line up evenly, and then later on off camera I have to add liquid adhesive to all of those letters because they're just not going to stick very well without it. And I don't mind that because then I know for sure that it's stuck down. So here in my coffee cup album, I embellished one or two of the wooden frames with these clear stickers from Maggie Holmes, and I love how they look. I've added a couple of flowers on mine. I didn't want to add too much because I really wanted to let that embossing shine on my frame. With Sam, after saying I wasn't going to add a flower, I have added a little corner a flower with black leaves, and because they're translucent, they look really good on the wood grain, or on the wood veneer I should be saying. So now I'm working on embellishing this one of Brielle's, and you can't quite see her name because it's written kind of underneath the popped up floral piece, but I mean, I know it's her and I don't think it's a big deal. So I didn't add any other journaling except for our names. I put a date, actually, the date, our name, and how old we turned. So like I said, Sam turned 13, I turned 43, and Brielle turned 6. And I think the title is pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to get into any details of the birthdays. The kids will get a birthday layout in each of their albums anyway. I normally do a birthday layout for myself as well, in which I will probably scrap the photo of myself I don't like so much. Yeah, I want to keep it real with that page, but with this one, I'm happy with these photos. So I've popped up my tags on some foam, and now I'm going through the Pebbles sticker sheet because I love it. I love the whimsy that it adds to the kit, and I'm just picking a few things, like I'm adding florals and trees and a plant. I've got a butterfly on Brielle's one because if you follow my personal channel, you know that she loves butterflies, and actually gets annoyed when I put them on other people in the family's layout. So I do try to make sure I do one layout for her with butterfly. I'm putting the cat on Sam's one because he loves our cat Lola, who likes to sleep in his room. So that's, it's a personal touch for him, really. Probably doesn't make much sense to anyone else looking at this. I have tied a bow with twine on the top of that Pink Fresh tag, and I think I've said this before. I may not have said it on here, but the way to tie a bow is to turn your page upside down, and that enables the threads or tails of the bow to hang down and have the top of the bow to be up, if that makes sense. So just adding a few finishing touches, and here realizing that, yeah, I really do need to move this along now that I've adhered that tag. And obviously I don't film that because it would be boring. So my final touch is to add some gold splatters, and I'm adding them in a gold that we got in a previous hip kit. I think it may have been last year. I did think about using the clam baked beige, but because I've got gold features on here, I wanted to go with gold. And yeah, excuse the banana. Ava decided to help herself to one and then needed me to open it for her. So a few final shots coming up. Do make sure you head on over to the Hip Kit website if you're interested in subscribing. You get a reduced main kit price, you get a 15% discount on all add-on kits, and you get free exclusive Hip Kit Club subscriber cut files. So yeah, thanks for watching.